On behalf of the Delhi Ikebana International, I welcome all our viewers to another warm afternoon amongst Ikebana lovers. Today we have a very consummate Ikebana artist showcasing her skills. But before I introduce her, I would like to welcome in our midst Mrs. Chikage Suzuki, the wife of the Japanese ambassador to India. Madam, it is our privilege to have you join us from so far away in Tokyo. We also have another distinguished guest, Miss Miho Okawara, the president of the Ikebana International Headquarters, Tokyo. Madam, we are truly honored to have you in our midst. May I please request you to say a few words for our members?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Miho Kawara, International President of Ikebana International. Today, I'm so excited to be with you all, and it's so honored to be invited to this kind of occasions. And first, I'd like to say thank you so much to Nina-san, a Delhi chapter president, for organizing these sessions, and really appreciate for your dedication to Ikebana International. And I always see you, Nina-san's, doing MC so far, but the first time for me to see you Ikebanas, and then I look forward to it. And then I can't wait to see you Ikebanas today. Thank you so much, Nina-san, for organizing and also doing Ikebanas as well today. And also taking this opportunity, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to healthcare professionals and others who have been devoting themselves for treating coronavirus patients and supporting our lifeline. And also, especially, I'd like to say thank you so much. I'd like to show my gratitude to all the members in Delhi chapters, because your chapters already so far has offered some online Ikebana demonstration like this so many times. And your activities has encouraged us headquarters, stimulated us, and motivated us to have our New Year online gatherings in January. And we just in the middle of planning, but I'd like to have invite all of you to the online New Year gatherings to be organized by headquarters in January. And Princess Takamado also will be sending us some message online, and also other Iemotos will be attending at the online New Year gathering. So I'd like to have the time and share the time with you all here in January. And also, so I'd like to ask for your continued support and or cooperation for the coming one more year. And just recently, I was re-elected international president again. And let me conclude my greetings by expressing my appreciation for your support and the cooperations, and wishing good health and happiness and the prosperity of all your the members of Ikebana International. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam, for those encouraging words. They always motivate and inspire us to do better and better. And yes, we join you in thanking all our medical staff for looking after us through this pandemic. And thank you very much for being with us. May I now introduce our demonstrator for today, who is none other than our dynamic and charismatic president, Mrs. Nina Verma. Nina is a very talented and accomplished teacher of the Sogetsu School, and she has regaled us all many a time with her sterling demos. So without much ado, I shall request Nina to please take the center stage and proceed with the program. Thank you all for being there.
Hello, everyone, and I welcome all of you today. And I'm very pleased to do this demonstration for you. Nature has a profound effect on our senses. Whenever we talk of the beauty of nature, we bring to life the various uh, parts of nature that kind of stimulate our senses. Nature is our 24/7 companion, always by our side, like our shadow. It inspires us, gives us room for thought, brings us peace and stability, gives us something to do. Silently, actually, always teaching us something or the other. My today's demonstration is titled Echoes of Nature, wherein I will try and bring to life the various unsaid expressions from nature. All the arrangements would be in the Sugetsu school and Jikyuso, if I pronounced it right, in Japanese. It's going to be freestyle. Enjoy the demonstration. My first arrangement is called Deep Devotion. And in India, we like to pay our respects and offerings to God before the onset of anything auspicious. And we have the festive season and everything coming along. So I thought that no better way of starting the demonstration. I've curved a bird of paradise. This is a white bird of paradise leaf, which I have curved and wired. And in my vase, I have a pin holder. Although I have in the middle of it done the Jumanji dome of the cross section to hold my leaves, because these leaves are very bold and heavy. And while I was doing this or trying out this arrangement and curving my leaves, I realized I curved the leaf and I left it. And somehow this leaf reminded me of our god, Lord Ganesha. So it kind of actually resembles the ear of Lord Ganesha. And I thought that I definitely have to use this because it would be very befitting. Nature always tries to tell us that if we are able to imbibe spirituality and meditation within ourselves, we actually would be in sync with nature. This is again a bird of paradise leaf, but this is the orange variety. So this leaf is a little smaller. Ikebana from a very long time, actually from its time of conception from the Heian dynasty, has always been used, flowers have always been used for offerings to the Lord. And it was actually the 8th shogun, Ashikara Yoshimasa, if I got the name right, who actually imbibed that flowers for festive occasions and ceremonial offerings should always follow and respect time and space. So that is how we got in the principles and we got in the various schools in Ikebana. These are heliconia flowers that I have used, and I am going to use these little heliconia leaves because I feel they are very apt and befitting. They go very well. One long stem I am going to add. Just want to create a little mask on one side of the arrangement. Ikebana falls into actually the 3 arts of Japanese refinement, which is Kado. Kado is the art of arranging flowers. Then there's Kudo, which is incense appreciation. And then there is Chado, that is the tea ceremony. So these are the 3 arts of refinement. In this arrangement, the curved leaf actually represents the world. The extended arm or the leaf actually represents us, our hand of offering to God. And this is just an accent that just adds to the arrangement. So in a way, and this is Lord Ganesha sitting in the middle. So it's like our way of offering our prayers to the Almighty and taking the blessings. My next arrangement is called Silent Stillness. And in this arrangement, I'm using a Tsutobo vase, where the rim is smaller and the diameter is bigger. And this is a Petrea creeper branch, and if you see, it's curved beautifully, and this is a fresh branch. So it's just, and I have just removed the leaves. And it is like it's a balancing act. So my stem is free from the table and it is self-balancing. And a lot of times the Ikebana material does listen to us, but sometimes it just chooses not to. I'm using a hydrangea, a pink hydrangea flower, and this is actually in keeping with the minimalistic concept in Ikebana, because Ikebana has various forms, and out of the 7 principles or techniques that it follows, 7 are there. Out of the 7, minimalistic is 1, silence is 1, humanity is 1, aesthetic is 1, shape and form is 1, structure is 1, line is 1. So out of the 7, I'm trying to look into 2 of them here, minimalistic and silence. This arrangement will give you a feeling of the sky above, the earth below, and peace within. And life is full of loud shouts of distractions and contradictions, but the sound of but just a whisper. So this is nature's way of trying to tell us that if we incorporate the same stillness within ourselves, we actually would be able to achieve unending peace and stability, undying peace and stability, and despite the upheaval. So this is unshaken stillness. My next arrangement is called Captive Cloud. And for Captive Cloud, I choose to use a glass container. And the reason I'm using a glass container is I'd like to mimic the glassy surface of the lake. So it's going to be a floating arrangement. And this is a ficus branch, which has been dyed, colored actually black. Again, it's going to be a balancing act because I'd like to show it floating, and I'm trying to keep it on one side to give you a distinct sense of direction. These are bleached Japanese ferns. I think they're called wild ferns something, and I got these from Japan, but these add and actually give you the feel of the cloud.
Nina, may I interrupt?
Yes, please do.
Please, could you, when you finish your arrangement, just move to a side so we can take photographs?
Yes, certainly, I will. I'm sorry, I tried to do it. I think I didn't move in the side enough. Maybe I was trying to hog the limelight. Yeah, I will.
No, that's fine.
Okay. In this arrangement, you would be reminded of William Wordsworth's poem, wherein he says, one second, I am going to hold this because it will stabilize the moment I put in the flower. I'm using the Protea flowers, and just to let you know, these are mauve colored or a deep maroon Protea flowers, but these are dried, by the way. These are dried, but somehow they've managed to retain their color, and I thought that they would be apt because I wouldn't need to immerse them in water and I could still have the floating effect. And coming back to William Wordsworth's poem, it should give you the feel of, like he says, besides the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. I'm going to just put one on the side, but unfortunately it's not going to stay, so I'm using a Scotch tape to tape it, which you will still not see because it is transparent. So this is captive cloud, where you feel you are floating you're floating with the sky, right? So I'll move aside for the picture. Yes, Protea has managed. Yeah, I don't know how, Anita ji, how the Protea managed to retain its color. You know, I tend to dry a lot of my material, but somehow there are about 6 or 7 of them that I have that have managed to retain their color. The next arrangement is perception, and it is more like a Nagari style because there are tall containers in which I would be doing the Jika dome fixing because it would be direct fixing. And I'm using the 2 heights of the container to give you a feel of the different heights of the mountain ranges, likewise symbolizing the different stages of growth that we have in life. And I am using the inflorescence of the fishtail palm, and I think it's curved beautifully. And this I'm actually just adding for drama. Like Walt Disney says, there's no magic in magic, it's all in the detailing. This is the dried pods or seed pods of the Gulmohar tree. And this actually lends a sense of direction to the arrangement. And it is like, and these are again 2 dried amaranthus flowers, and these actually have just been dried say about a week, 10 days back, so these have managed to also retain their color. I don't know how long that would happen, but I thought that they curved very well, so I wanted to kind of use these. The flowers that I'm using with this, I'm trying to maintain the colors of the mountains. So these are the Mokaro flowers, the orchid Mokaro. And there are 4 words very key to Ikebana, and they are, whenever you're doing an arrangement, you need to kind of keep them in mind. One is placement, one is your creativity, one is your structure, and then there is one more, which is your placement. So I want a 6th one here. This would be okay. I'll just lift this a bit, so I'll just put all of them. Okay, and then I just get that one right. And the theme is that don't climb the mountains so that the world could see you, but climb the mountains so you can see the world, the years gone by and the years yet to come. And I am using this bottle brush, which has these lovely pink tips, and I thought that they are blending colors. And with this, I'm using these are white text flowers. So I thought this kind of broke the monotony. In Ikebana, we have various schools, and Ikenobo is actually the oldest school. And then we have Sugetsu, we have Ohara, we have Ichio, and we have so many, and then all have their own principles. I'm going to bend this a bit to give it one. Sometimes I like to bend these because I feel that they add the beauty. The first arrangements that were done in Ikebana were actually called Shinohara, which was like a central arrangement. And at that time, it used to be only one tall branch in the center, which could be a cryptomeria or a pine. And then there used to be flowers just put all around. or it used to be the Nagari Bana, which was just like standing arrangement, like standing flowers. And then we evolved. And the Buddhist priests used to be actually the oldest teachers of Ikebana. I think we are able to, I can't see, but I think we have enough of the purple in this. So this represents the various heights, the mountain heights, and okay, I think it goes well. That's it. Yeah, so we can turn and twist it the way we would like, and these are the various mountain heights. And as we move ahead, we actually should watch and see where we've reached, and again try to look into where we really need to go. So this is perception. My next arrangement is called Mystic River, and this is in keeping in with the keeping in with the composition of color in the same color tone range. So I'm using blue because blue is representative of the waterways, and I am using this curved juniper branch, which I have painted blue, and I think it offsets the waves very well. And actually, I have a pin holder. All my containers, by the way, have little water. I haven't filled it in too much because I need to keep moving it. And then I have these two very nice dried leaves that I have painted. And these are again from the orange bird of paradise, which has the thinner leaves. And the curves in the leaves, the curves in the waves, the curve on the branches, they all signify the various curves and twists and turns of not only just the waters of the rivers, but also of life. And in a way, if we are able to imbibe and learn from nature that we are as bendable, as malleable, as moldable as the rivers' waters are, we would find our way through anything. And it's like Tennyson says, and off again I curve and flow, for men will come and men will go, but I go on forever. I'm using a blue hydrangea because this blue hydrangea represents us. So amongst the waterways, it's us on this, in the middle of it, adapting to life. If you notice, most of my arrangements are balancing. They are the twigs and the stems, the branches are all balancing. So I'm glad that they're listening to me for a change. My next arrangement is called the cocooning shell. And this is like a low vase that I'm using, like, yeah, SOS, like a Moribana thing. But the shell, the vase looks like a shell. And I thought even the color is like a shell. I am going to use a branch. This is a dried branch, and this is the Galois tree branch that I'm using, which I'm again going to. And in this also, I have actually done the Jumanji dome inside so as to help my branches get some stability. This is a dried leaf, and this is a banana leaf which is curved very well. And this actually is in the composition of line and mass. And although this leaf would actually stay by itself, but for today, I'm going to wire it because I will have to move it. And if we, these are the little tricks that so the line adds the direction and dimension to the composition or the arrangement, And Mark actually brings in the strength. I'm going to use the white bird of paradise. It's a rare flower to find here, and it's a healthy one. So I thought this is very befitting, and it is like and then I'll take it a bit. I think the best way to do it is this. Yeah, and to add to the mask effect of this is I'm going to use the yellow chrysanthemum, and these are just to add the mask effect. Ikebana long back, or used to earlier in the olden days, be in two forms. They used to be the Rika style, which was the informal style, the formal style, and then the Devi Bana, that was the informal style. So I'm trying to get some mask effect here. I have cut my branches, my flowers, in a way so that I save a lot of my time. And I am using, these are the variegated ficus leaves, and I thought that the white and the green went very well with the white and the green of the flower of the bird of paradise. So just want to add, yeah, now that's the way they don't listen to us. Okay. Put it and then I bend it. And one for the filler. And I want to make the whole thing. Yeah. So this is cocooning shell, which states that if we want to grow in life and move forward, we need to come out and break our shell and move forward. So this is cocooning shell. And it's like nature says that everybody wants happiness, nobody wants pain, but there will never be a rainbow without some rain. So my next arrangement is called hug and embrace, and I'm using two vases. These are actually very typical Japanese vases, and these vases actually represent two polarities, two identities, two different people, two maybe different schools of thought, two ideologies. And likewise in nature, we also have maybe two branches from the same tree which would not be the same. I like to place them in an angle to represent the two different directions that maybe people or stems and leaves can go to. These are actually two roots, and these are roots from my very big bonsai, ficus bonsai. And while I was repotting them, I realized that the space restraints actually made them curve and hug each other. And that's exactly from where I got my idea or theme of hug and embrace. And I thought that these two very beautifully kind of went close, like in an embrace to each other. So it could be a mother and child, like, or could be anybody, subordinate and superior and subordinate. I'm using these small pink daisies because I feel that pink is the color of love and affection. I'm going to put these also in two different directions. And this is again like the poem, what is this life full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. No time to turn to beauty's glance and watch her feet how they dance. If we take out the time for one another, be there standing for one another, helping one another, like we all have been doing during this time in the pandemic time, as well as Ikebana, I think, has really been like this. We all could actually be in sync with nature and have a more fulfilling life. Just adding a little of gypsum. I think I need to get some space. So this is hug and embrace, and here's being there for each other and blooming and growing with each other. For my next arrangement, I'm going to take a moment because we need to adjust for the taller arrangement. Okay, my next arrangement is called October. So my next arrangement is called October, very befitting to the month we already are in. And this is the season where the old leaves have fallen and the new ones are ready to come. For this, I am using these two giant leaves. These are again the white bird of paradise leaves, which are dried. These are all, I'd like to tell you that all material is from my garden or farm or from my friends and our board members' farm. So it's like we have a lot of material here. Now this leaf, although would self-stand, but I'm wiring it just so because I'll need to move it after my arrangement. And this is going to be a supporting one on top, and to hold doing these 1 second. Okay. This is doing this. Okay. Okay, let me just fix this and this is the, this is a water weed, like water plant. And this I'm inserting to kind of hold it in place. And then I'm going to take back my leaf. And I really like the way that these two kind of, this is in keeping with the wabi-sabi concept. In the Japanese wabi-sabi concept is finding perfection in imperfection and accepting the process of growth and decay. Also in nature, we always find two elements, fresh and dry. So I'm using both. These are the spider orchids, as we call them, and I think some call them the black anise. So in life as well as in nature, we have two elements always. There is young and old, there's happiness and sadness, there's acceptance and rejection. It's like the leaves of age turn brown, the leaves of age turn brown, wilting slowly, they soon sail down, and the leaves of youth always rejoice. And like they say that nature's first hue is gold, its hardest hue to hold. So I think this just adds a little delicacy to it. And yes, this is an asparagus branch, and I thought, this was an extended branch, but I thought that this kind of gave the look of a tree. So, it's like a shady tree, and I thought I'd like to use it. I have actually manicured it a bit so as to let you see the gap and create space between these leaves. So I like it. Putting one eucalyptus green just to add the freshness and the thing of youth, and to add the little drama, like Roald Dahl would say, that a little magic takes you a long way. So in Ikebana, the more dramatic we are, the better our arrangements turn out. And this is October. My next arrangement is called Reflection. And I must tell you one thing about Ikebana, which actually only the Ikebana artists can appreciate, and the families probably may or may not, is that we do not discard anything in Ikebana, because any and everything in Ikebana can be reused, can be preserved till it actually just goes away. So this is a vase, and actually this broke. So I haven't thrown it. And I thought I could use it. So I am using it for reflections because it is a glass see-through container. I have these two very beautiful branches, which actually I have nailed here, and I have tried to get a very beautiful line. And the vine inside is actually to hold this branch in place. Again, this is going to be a balancing act, and you need to take the vibrations away and just hope they stay. And in Reflections, it is like William Shakespeare says, look at the glass and tell the face what thou seest, for what you see is not what you get. And we need to look deeper in life to actually get the true picture. And if we do that, then if we do that, we actually would have the right perspective of people. I am using the rosemary or the Limonia branches. I have wired them together to give you a little mass effect. I am using very fine and delicate material in this, reason being that I want not to take away from the lines. So these are eucalyptus leaves, and eucalyptus can stay without water for a very long time. And also the eucalyptus leaves dry very well. Okay, these are again the Mukara orchids, purple in color. And I have, wow. So this is something that often happens in Ikebana when you're trying to balance it. And I guess this is another echo in nature trying to tell us that make sure that the balance is right, otherwise you will not be in sync. I hope, yes. So now we have, and what I've done is I have these camouflage tubes. And these camouflage tubes, I am going to insert my flowers. I'm going to insert my flowers, and there is water in them. And let's think. And I'd like to just add some of them just to add color. Again, Yeah, that was my fault. That was my fault. Yeah. Okay, please do. I have to do this again. It's just nature trying to tell me don't be too adventurous. And I will add one on the base to just add the thing. If you camouflage the tubes, then you know they look like the greens. So this is reflection, and this is inside out, and you can see the arrangement is half inside, half outside, and you can actually view it. So it is your way of seeing the world in its true light. Okay, my next arrangement is actually my last arrangement, and this arrangement is called the Tree of Life. It's an arrangement that I would like to dedicate to the upcoming festive season. So it's an arrangement of celebration. In life, in nature, color creates light, and in a painting, light creates color. Now, this is a very old bougainvillea creeper. I'm going to show you how to do a large arrangement from scratch. And this is again a balancing act. I'm just putting this branch to support it. And you would realize somewhere they find their own equilibrium. And then you again take the vibrations away, and then they are happy. I'm going to put these glass containers inside. So as to hold my flowers. It's just nature's way of telling us that the sun may, if you actually imbibe by all the various expressions, you actually would, the sun would not shine on you, but would shine in you. Now for mass effects, I'm going to use bunches and bunches of these. And we have a lot of festivities coming our way, because in India, we are starting with Navratras. Then we have Dussehra, Diwali, and the world over, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have New Year. So we all have something or the other to celebrate and cheer for. So this is like a full bloom arrangement, actually has all the elements of nature and of life, happiness, sadness, dry, fresh. Okay, now this gypso is actually I'm using as a network, and this is going to hold my flowers. Okay, let me put one more bunch of this orange at the back. Very good. Okay. And in nature, if you see, there's nothing in nature that is there for itself. The trees don't eat their fruits. The flowers don't smell their own fragrance. The rivers don't drink their own water. And the sun doesn't shine for itself. So in a way, if we also stay in sync with nature, we actually would have a more harmonious and a balanced life. On one side, I like to put of the leaves. Okay. I'm trying to create a mask of these flowers to green. Okay. Then we can add a little yellow. I do a lot of oil paintings, and one thing I've realized, in painting you play with colors, and in Ikebana we play with flowers. And in this tree of life, I'd actually like to bring to life all colors that surround not only us in nature, but also kind of representative of our life and symbolic to it. So we have the item here. In life, I'm kind of add a little yellow, just to give a little depth. And now I'm going to put in the green. And for the greens, I am using, these are two juniper branches, which again I can plug into that. Okay. And then I'm going to wire this back. Juniper again is a branch that can stay without water. And one to the other side. And just add some dimension. And actually I wired both of them together at the back. Hope they stay. And then to give some body, I'm filling at the back and adding some more of this. These are very pretty magnolia plants, and it has the seed pod also coming in. I like to put two of them on the two sides to give dimension. And this is like a large arrangement composition, and this is like wishing everybody, this is like wishing everybody the oncoming season of festivities and a lot of good wishes for the coming season. So a lot of good wishes for celebrations and family. Just going to add a little bit of open. Okay, I need to put something back. Saving it. Okay, so I think we are okay with this. In the candles, I'm going to put in 2 candles for celebration. I hope you people have enjoyed my. Okay, so are these replacements okay of the candles? And this is, these are the pine fruits, which I thought was very nice, and it should come here. So I just want to clear the table a bit. So this is in these times of the pandemic, it is like nature tries to tell us, do not wait for the storm to pass, but learn how to dance in the rain. So this is the tree of life, and hope you all have enjoyed my expression of bringing to life the world of Ikebana. I'd also like to take up this opportunity to thank my two teachers, Mrs. Uma Sharma and Mrs. Veena Das, who have actually taught me all that I am today. Thank you very much.
Neena, that was a mesmerizing show, and we are still spellbound. Your color combinations and the skill that you exhibited have once again proved your expertise. You are truly gifted, and we are all very delighted to be part of this brilliant performance. On behalf of the Delhi Ikebana International, I would like to thank our distinguished guests, Mrs. Chikage Suzuki and Ms. Miho Okawara, for sparing their valuable time. I would like to thank all our international and national guests for joining us and for encouraging our efforts. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all our members for joining in large numbers. Thank you and stay safe.
Yes, and enjoy the festivities.